Hi everyone, how are you doing? I hope you are all well. So today I'm making this video because I want to explain to you what Ielts is. You've probably heard it. So to begin with, Ielts is an exam that is preferred by students who are about to do postgraduate studies in universities all over the world. In order to succeed in this exam, you have to pass all written and oral assignments. So it actually consists of 4 parts. Part number 1 is reading, and you need to spend 60 minutes on that. Part number 2 is writing, and you have 1 hour, 60 minutes for that. Then you have speaking, which lasts about a quarter of an hour. And of course you have the listening section. It is quite easy, and according to the score that you get, it classifies you in bands, levels. It starts from 1 to 9. 9 is excellent, let's say. And some universities will ask for a 6. Some more, let's say, demanding universities will ask for a 7.5, and there are even cases of universities that might ask for an 8. Now, the scores that they might ask you to obtain might be overall, which means they want you to have an average of, let's say, 7, or they might ask you to score 7 in all 4 components. Let's have a look more specifically to the reading section. Now, the reading section consists of 40 questions. They are based on 3 texts, 3 long texts. They might have from 10 to 12 questions each. Now, the format of the questions could be multiple choice. You might have to identify information as true, false, or not given. And in some cases they ask you to use yes, no, or not given, not mentioned. You might have to match information. You might have to put titles to text, small paragraphs, or matching headings, matching sentence endings, filling in vocabulary, but it is of course based on a specific part of the text, labeling a diagram. And you definitely need to do that, as we said, in 1 hour. Now, writing. Okay, writing consists of 2 tasks, 2 activities, and you have 60 minutes in total in order to complete the writing task. They don't tell you that you need to spend a specific amount of time for the first or the second task, but what is recommended is that you spend, let's say, 20 minutes in the first task, which is a report, and it is quite straightforward, and then maybe 40 minutes for the second part, which is an essay. In the first part, you will need to describe either the results of a survey, or maybe results of specific information that they're going to give you about, let's say, the educational system of a country, or maybe the smoking rates of people living in that country, or the number of tourists visiting a country. In any case, you either have a table or a bar graph or a line graph. You might have a diagram that you need to describe. So you should basically focus on providing descriptive vocabulary. Of course, you need to show that you can handle the language and that your syntax is correct, that you understand which data is important that you should mention and which is not. You're not supposed to mention all the information of the tables or the diagrams, but you need to be able to distinguish the most important. Now, the second part requires you to write at least 250 words, and it is an essay in response to an opinion, a problem, or a general issue. Now, this of course is more demanding, I would say, because the first task is based on specific vocabulary, since it is description of a diagram, so you need to make comparisons. Whereas in the second task, you need to show that you are able to handle the language adequately. Now, listening. Listening lasts about 30 minutes, and you might have 10 additional minutes in the end in order to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now, there are 4 tasks that you are supposed to complete in that amount of time, and they might be multiple choice exercises or matching exercises, or you might have to fill in information, fill in the gaps on a map, a plan, or a diagram. So these are short answer questions, and you get 1 mark for every correct answer. The last part of the Ielts exam is speaking. Now, this is quite easy. If you have, let's say, attended a lot of years of courses, and it consists of 3 parts. Now, in the first part, they might ask you general questions about yourself, your family, your friends, about your hobbies. Okay, this is like the icebreaker activities that you have in most certificates. The second part is description. They give you a card, it has a question and some bullet points. They give you some time to prepare it. Okay, and I think that you should take advantage of that amount of time that they give you to write down words, not phrases, that might help you keep going while you speak. And this might concern describing a person, an object, maybe a building, a historical building, for instance, or you might be asked to describe a city. So you need to be able to use a lot of vocabulary, a big range of vocabulary. Whereas the final part, the third part, includes general questions, but most of the times they are connected with the second part. So, for instance, if they ask you to describe a building, they might ask you in the third part general questions about the architecture of your country, the architecture of your home, or if they ask you to describe a person in the second task, they might ask you the qualities of a friend in the third part, or things about your family in the final part. Okay, about things about the format of a family, whether it's a nuclear family or an extended family, what are the relationships between members of the family in the modern world, whether there is generation gap, a big variety of questions. Now, mind you that you're not judged for your ideas, but for the use of language. Ielts exams are held in Greece at least twice a month, and you obtain your scores 10 days after you took the exam. So they send you an email, and in case you want, they can forward the email directly to the university that you want to apply. It's quite easy, don't stress, it all takes some studying and some revising. So make sure that you do plenty of practice tests, that you get a teacher who will give you speaking lessons and will help you with writing. And of course, in case you have forgotten the vocabulary, do a lot of tests for reading. Good luck!